Hi, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, often known as Dr. T Loves Books, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I'm an old dog who's always trying to learn new tricks. That's why at each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson, program, or activity they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. Speaking of which, I'd love to hear about what you and your friends are doing in your school library. Email me at drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com to tell me about what you're doing, offer feedback about the SLLN podcast, or to request a podcast sticker. As Amy Herman likes to say, being a guest on a podcast is a great way to show your admins you are engaged in meaningful professional development and leadership in the profession. So drop me a line and let's chat. That being said, the opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. I just like to geek out about school libraries. So without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Hey everybody, I am back. I've got a new friend. I'm very excited. Why don't we take a second and meet my wonderful guest. Alice, why don't you tell folks who you are, where you're at, and what you do?
Well, I'm Alice Reinert, and I am an elementary school librarian in Topeka, Kansas.
Yay, Kansas.
I am the librarian at Wanamaker Elementary, and our student body is pre-K through 5th grade. We just lost our 6th graders last year to the new middle school. So
interesting.
We currently I have preschool through 5th grade. And yeah, I just finished my 12th year in the library.
Way to go.
So kind of came to this gig a little bit later in life, but I'm having so much fun that I just keep coming back. So
love it.
Yeah.
I'm late to the profession too. So how did you end up in librarianship?
Well, that's a great question. So I started out after college in high school English and speech and drama and did that for 10 years and then stayed home with my 4 kids for, I'd say 16, 17 years, honestly. Very involved, of course, in their life, in their schooling and activities. And when the last one was ready for high school, I was ready to get back into the workforce and the official workforce, and decided that I really didn't think I wanted to go back to grading essays every night. So while I loved teaching high school students, I just didn't want to do that every night essay grading. So took a look at, wow, what do I do? And school library, elementary school, I just thought seemed like it'd be a really fun job. And of course, trying to help my own children become voracious readers. Mm-hmm. I thought, well, you've got some experience there. So went that route. And because I had my master's degree, I had to get the certification. So I was able to do that pretty quickly. And
nice.
I got lucky and found a position right away.
That's awesome. Boy, going from high school English to elementary library, that's a big shift in sort of your population there.
Yes, a big shift. And honestly, I probably would not have had the guts to do that, except I had been doing some substitute teaching while I was home with my children. So I did do some substitute teaching, especially in the later years. And I did a lot of subbing in my own children's elementary school. Okay. So I thought, okay, I've done this and by subbing, I had a chance to really observe a lot of teachers and practices and felt like, I think I could probably do this. And I think I really wanted to go for the elementary level because of their excitement. I just felt like they had the more time to read. And I just felt like that natural desire or excitement would be more prevalent at the elementary level. So I don't know if I could, as a teacher, I don't know if I could teach at the lower grades, but I can see the library being a really fascinating place for the little kids because, like you said, that interest in reading, I think it's such a great time to really catch them and get them hooked on just loving books. And that's awesome that you were able to recognize that and kind of take advantage of it. It's just been such a great fit. I absolutely love getting to experience every student in school, every teacher in school, and the variety, all the different hats that we wear. It's just really suited me well, I feel.
That's awesome. And I mean, one of the things I love is that we got connected because a mutual friend of ours said, hey, you two should chat, which I love. And she shared, or you shared, both of you shared your beyond checkout kind of concepts that you were doing. And I love this because so often people kind of look at the library and be like, okay, the library is books and checkouts. And those of us on the inside know there's so much more that a library can be. And so I love that you have sort of picked out some particular ways that we can kind of think beyond just kids coming in and borrowing books and then going away again. So I love that we're going to get to have this conversation. Before we kind of get into the specifics, I'm just kind of curious, like, what brought you to the realization that this was something that you kind of needed to pick out and focus on a little bit?
Well, so my topic today is kind of going to zero in on different ways that I've worked to get the staff involved to help build that positive reading culture at school. I mean, we have our student-centered activities, but I've really tried to think of ways that I can get the whole staff involved in our activities. I just feel like, well, I really love the quote by Pernille Riff, who she is the creator of the Global Read Aloud. And I do that with second graders. I love that project. But she has the quote that says, a reading culture isn't something that you import. It's something you grow together. And I've always liked that quote because I feel like the library is kind of seen as can be seen as the hub of the school. And it does, like I mentioned, we have every student in school. We work with all the staff members, particularly the teachers. And so I felt like if we could bring everybody into some of these activities, that we would just, that would be a good thing. And I feel like me as the teacher librarian, I'm kind of that bridge that can act, someone that can act as a bridge with all the different populations in our school.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's such a good point that we need to think about our teachers and how we can have them as partners in what we do, because so often we are the only ones in our space doing what we do. And so when we can get those extra brains and extra bodies and extra ways of looking at and doing stuff, it doesn't just help us, it helps the students and helps the school. So it's brilliant that you are really thinking about how do I get my teachers engaged and involved with the love that.
Yeah. Well, you put that very well, because that is kind of what we try to do is to.
And you're doing it super well. I got to say, like, based on what you have shared here, so great, like so wonderful that you are thinking this through and bringing it to your teachers.
Well, and I will also, preface with, I have a fabulous staff. I very much have a reading staff. They do a lot of reading for pleasure. They support reading with their students. And I feel very lucky in that respect, because some of the activities that we do, it pulls in a lot of staff members. And it's because they support reading and they're readers themselves. A lot of them are. So I feel like they've kind of made my job easier because of that.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I think people outside of education think of teachers as like, oh, they must always have their heads buried in books and, always engaged with different kinds of literacy and reading. And it's not really necessarily the case. It may be at some point that stereotype, had its origin someplace. But these days, there's so much going on in the classroom that teachers are not just in the classroom, but like beyond school hours. Teachers are so busy doing school tasks and then trying to live their own lives. And I feel like I hear a lot of my teachers saying, I wish I had more time to read. And so I love that you've got a staff that really is engaging with literacy on their own.
Yeah, it's amazing. So one of the activities that we do, and we've started including the staff members, I'm going to say it feels like a while, probably 6-7 years now. 6-7. But anyway, we do the Battle of the Books. We do a Battle of the Books competition at the end of the school year. And prior to that, it had been 5th and 6th grade students. And so when I came, I was like, wow, first of all, let's include 4th grade and also the staff, because, hey, why not? Maybe we could get enough to form a team. And so that first year, we do this with our state award books. That's what we use for the books for our Battle of Books.
Okay.
And that we meet all through second semester. Once a month, I meet with the students, and they choose the books. They get into teams. They choose the books they divide the books up that they're going to read, and then as a team, they answer questions and quotes and tell what William Allen White book that question or that quote came from. So it's kind of it's a pretty big deal, and they have to read those books really closely. So anyway, I do that with the students. And so the first year, the teachers had enough for, I think we had 2 teams. One year we had enough for 3 teams. I had 21 staff members sign up for Battle of the Books. And so what we do is those 3 staff teams do their competition, their tournament. We end up with a winning staff team. And then the students, I had 60 students last year participate, which was a record for us.
Wow.
And we get a winning student team. And then the last round is the winning student team versus the winning staff team. And so in our principal acts as the MC, the narrator, and he does a fabulous job, makes it a lot of fun. So this year, for next year, we've already signed up. The staff has already signed up for next year. And I have 19 staff members. I have enough for 3 teams.
Wow.
And I'm so excited because we have a fabulous cross section of our school. For the first time, we have a cafeteria staff member participating. One of our 2 school nurses is participating. We have teachers. We have paras. We just have a fabulous cross section. I'm really excited for next year because we've even pulled in, like I said, the cafeteria staff member. She's like, I really don't know how this works, but hey, I'm good to go. So
that's all you need is the enthusiasm.
I love it that kids are seeing, the nurse, the cafeteria staff getting excited about reading.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny, as with so many great ideas, it seems so simple and so basic, but I never thought of it until you said, why not invite the staff to be part of Battle of the Books? Simple concept, and yet never in a million years would have occurred to me. And so I love that you are kind of thinking beyond what we usually do and saying, these are things that we can absolutely involve the adults in as well. And like you said, how awesome for the students to see that the adults are getting excited about reading in this way.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun because there's a lot of smack talking.
Oh, I bet.
That takes place between the students and the staff. This year we were meeting in the library. They bring their lunch, and that's when we meet. And our social worker was on a team, and her room is right next to the library, and she passed through several times, and she would be like, hey, you're going down. And, and the students, it's a fun, friendly competition between the students and the staff members.
That's awesome, man. So I love when we get the opportunity to kind of let the kids see us in a different light instead of just being the authority figures or whatever. Being in competition with the teachers is a fun thing when we can arrange it in a way this is so wonderfully productive and literary, and no matter what happens, everybody is coming out ahead in the long run. So I love this way of involving, connecting the students and the staff.
Yes. And, 1 year, so this was the first year the staff members won that final round by a narrow margin. In the past, the students have always won. So, it's just it's so good for their confidence and their enthusiasm for reading. It's been really fun to watch that.
That is a brilliant, brilliant way to bring the staff into what's going on with literacy in your school. And that Battle of the Books is often a library program, but it's not necessarily a library program. And I love that you've not just taken ownership of it, but have sort of broadened it out in an interesting way that, like I said, it never would have occurred to me in a million years. But once you said it, I was like, well, of course. So I hope other folks out there are having that same thought and going, oh, yes, my staff is definitely going to get involved next year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think the first activity that I think I did that involved staff a number of years ago was the picture book challenge. So November is National Picture Book Month. And 1 year I decided we would do a picture book challenge. And I don't know if you've seen the sticker posters. There's 4,000 stickers for a poster. And so we put that on the bulletin board with just the title. I think it was called Get Wild About Picture Books. And I didn't tell the students what that picture was. And so every picture book that was read, they got to put a sticker on the poster. And it's a pixelated poster. So at the end of the hallway, you can really see things come together. And our bulletin board is at the end of a very long hallway. And so coming from the lunchroom, so the students see it all the time. And so we started with that. They got to put a sticker up. And then I had Chick-fil-A coupons and different stuff, different milestones as they met their reading challenges. And also the poster then was our school-wide reading challenge or picture book challenge. So I thought, now what can we do? How can we pull the staff into this? And so I had the staff members all who wanted to participate, which most of them did, tell me their favorite picture book.
Okay.
And if we didn't already have it, I ordered it. And we put a thing on the front that said, Mrs. Smith's pick or choice, and put that on the front of the cover. And then we put those all on display on a particular long shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way students were checking out all this, the staff members' favorite picture books, which was a lot of fun. And that also opened up some conversations between the staff members and the students. And what was really fun too about that was the staff members trying to choose their favorite, because, some of them had a current favorite, or a lot of staff members went back into their childhoods and, hey, I loved that book. And it created a lot of conversations among the staff members, a lot of memories that came to light, trying to decide which book to choose. So that was probably the first activity that I did that pulled in the staff members.
I love that. And I mean, I've heard of schools, I guess mostly middle schools and high schools, that do like a shelf curated by students or by a student or by a staff member. And that way you kind of got like this person's picks. But I love the idea of using it with picture books, which I don't think I've ever heard folks do before. And I love, and having that sort of sticker on the front is such a great way to kind of almost surprise the students in a way that like they might be taking the book off the shelf. I mean, you had them set up as a display, but I can also see at some point, like they take it off the shelf and there's a little sticker that says, oh, this is this person's favorite. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yes, because we do leave those stickers on. So that they do. And, so many of them they definitely want to check out their teachers. Which one is Mrs. Smith's favorite? And
they always need that like insight. They want that inside information about the teachers. I love it. And it's such a great way. And like you said, conversation started for the teachers as well as for the students, as well as for the teachers and the students. And I mean, I'm now actually picturing like what a great icebreaker or get to know you activity to do during a staff day. Like, what is a book you remember from your childhood, or what is a modern favorite of yours, as a way to kind of both generate those lists of books that you can then kind of promote in the library, but also great just conversation starter, because we've all got a book somewhere that we love.
Yes, that's a great idea, Steve. I love that idea, especially because my staff does like to read. That would generate a lot of conversation. So I think that's a great idea. I'm going to keep that in mind for the beginning of the school year.
Please do. Yes, absolutely. And that we can build that list of titles that you might have access to at a later point too. And I usually, when I hear people are curating what their staff are reading or what their students are reading, it's here's what we have, pick the stuff that we already have. So I love that you're actually making sure that if you don't have it, you're going to get it and have it on hand so that the teachers and the students can enjoy it. So great.
Yes.
So nice.
Yes. Something that was similar to that, a little bit, that was a lot of fun last year was, so over the summer, I got to thinking and I thought, I should have the staff members send me a picture of them when they were in elementary school and send me their favorite books at that point in their life and a reading memory. And so the people did that. I had enough to change it out every week during the school year.
Wow.
And I had a spot there right outside the library door. And the kids all go down this hallway because they go to music and PE and that way. So kids always see our walls. And I'd put it right outside the wall. And so we printed all those pictures, matted them, put them up. And then my clerk, my talented, fabulous clerk, made a thing that said, guess who, or what's your guess, or something like that. And so then we had a multiple choice of 5 staff members. And I'd had the answer sheet sent in the library. So the kids came into the circulation desk and circled the one that they thought it was and put it in a blue tub. And then on Friday, I would draw. And the first person I drew that had the correct answer then got a little treat.
Oh, that's fun.
But that was so fun because, pictures alone, especially of seeing the staff members as elementary students, was the kids loved it. And honestly, so did the adults. And like I said, I had enough to change it out every week of the entire school year.
That's awesome. Even just there's several elements built into this that are so great. Like you said, the picture, awesome. Everybody's going to love seeing the pictures of old people as young people, because that's always fun. And then, I mean, I'm throwing myself in with the old people there, so don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. But then also the reading memory I love, because that's not something that would have occurred to me. Like, I love that you've got their picture and a book that they love, but there's so many great ways that a reading memory, like somebody could interpret that. And I'm sure that the responses you got were so varied and interesting, like just all different ways that they are remembering or recollecting their reading experiences. And that kind of gives the students another way to think about reading. Like maybe they're going to see something about reading that they haven't seen before as they get these ideas from their teachers, which is so much fun.
So
you
much
got
fun.
pictures, you got books, you got reading memory. And then on top of that, you also make it a competition, like a fun, friendly competition. So wonderful that there's this whole melange of wonderful things going on with this activity. It's so great.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Now, is this something that you do regularly, or is this like
I did that last year. This year, I actually did a library trivia contest. And so that was for it was student-centered. But I had a different question about the library. How well do you know your library? And then same thing, multiple choice. Which one of the following books would be a biography or something like that? And they would come in and do their. So I'm still working on what I'm going to do next year, because I really do like having that weekly contest. The kids love it. And it brings the kids into the library right first thing in the morning, because that's when they usually, they don't use class time to fill out their answers. They come in before school.
Gotcha.
And it gets the kids in the library and conversation with me. And it's good.
Yeah, anything that we can
among
do.
themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Like conversation among themselves, absolutely. And also anything that's going to get them in the door of the library, because sometimes that's all it takes for a kid to see a thing that is then going to be read or borrowed or used. Like, might be a book, but it might be other resources. It's the kids that don't come through the library regularly that I feel like miss out. And this is an opportunity to sort of almost rope them in. You're kind of baiting the hook and sort of saying, hey, here's something you can take part in, and just all you got to do is come in the library. And it's like, I almost feel like we're playing Wicked Witch or the Gingerbread House, like, oh, hey, come and check it out, and just come on in.
We also have a dictionary like the size of this. It's huge.
Nice.
And it was just kind of hanging out in the back of the library. I'm like, wait a minute, let's wheel this over here to the bottom of the ramp where the kids come down, and put a little board up and have a different word. My library leaders change the word out all the time. And I'm amazed at the number of kids that come through and stop at that huge dictionary and, hey, I found the word, or try to find the word. So again, it's those little, trying to lure them in.
Yeah, so great, man. And so you've got some awesome stuff going on here with your staff. So you've also got, I'm seeing some contests here. And are these contests that you pull your teachers into as well? Or
Yes. Okay. We do. So every year I try to do a contest at least once a year. And, last year it was taking a Pringles can and making it into a book character. We've had pumpkins, making into characters. I've only had one go rotten. We did that one year. One year I did potatoes, and they made their potatoes into book characters. One year we did an undercover gingerbread man at Christmas time, and they made their gingerbread man a book character. And one year we had a library holiday tree. They made ornaments with doing book characters. And I said we called it a tree farm, because we ended up with having to do 3 different trees. I think I had 150 kids submit ornaments that year. And I always just number them. First, I number them, and then I keep track of the names, of course, but the names are not visible because we do make it a contest. And what we do for the contest is I invite for a week the staff members to come through and vote for their top 5. And so that's kind of how we do that, but kind of make it a contest. I would say I've done this one twice because it was so popular. And my staff also would say to me, that was my favorite. Let's do that one again. And it's called Pets Caught Reading. And I had a lot of staff members get involved with that one, because so students would try to catch their pet reading, and so creative. And also like the book choice. Like I remember one year I had a student had a pet fish pet goldfish. And I can't remember the name of the book, but it's, they try to tie the book in with the pet sometimes.
I gotcha.
And like, for instance, one time this student had an iguana and this book was reading a nonfiction book about iguanas. So it's just, that's a really fun one. And we've done that one twice. And that's a very popular contest. Everybody loves pets, right?
Absolutely. And I'm imagining how much fun it would be to try and pose your pet with a book and figuring out all the different permutations and possibilities. And like, can I get my dog to sit in the chair near a cup of tea while he's, just like all the different ways you could have fun with that. And bringing the staff in as voters is so clever, because now you're taking some of the onus off of, I'm going to be the arbiter and judge of all things, and helping to sort of spread that around. But also like a great way for the teachers to be involved in a way that's very, very low stress for them. Like, walk through, pick some things, walk away. So making it simple.
And a lot of the staff members participate in these for sure that contest.
Oh, they put in their own entries.
A lot of them did put their own pets in there. Yes.
Love it.
Of course, they won't be one of the, winners, but they just have fun with it and participate. So they're always invited to participate. I invite the staff to participate. This year we did the Kleenex box. We did a Kleenex box and they made them look like characters. And those were very creative. I had a big turnout for that as well. A few staff members participated in that, but it fell during a book fair time. So we set up 3 big tables out in the hallway there for parents to see it at Parent Teacher Conference and Book Fair.
That's awesome.
That was a fun contest this year. And then the students could give the teachers or give their box to their teacher if they wanted, or they could take it home, whatever they wanted to do.
That's awesome. And I love too, like I hadn't thought of that, but that's another great element of what you're doing with the contest is here's a piece of advocacy that you can sort of showcase or show off to visitors, parents, whoever happens to be coming through the building. So, hey, look what our library does. Look what our students do through the library. Look how our teachers interact with the library. Look how our teachers and students interact. Like all these great layers to this that are on display when you're able to kind of put this out and let people see, here's what, other stuff besides just reading a book. There's thinking about books. There's talk about books. There's contests. There's ways that we are building our community of readers. And that's such an important thing. So this is so wonderful that you have all these different ways. It's great that you're bringing the staff in, but it's also such a great piece of, like I said, piece of advocacy, a piece of advertising for what the library does beyond books. So great. So clever.
Well, and every time after one of these contests, I say, oh my gosh, the absolute best part was hearing those kids tell me why they chose the book or the character they did, how they made it. And I bill this as a family project.
Yes.
I've had people say, well, how do you know that the kid did it? And I'm like, you know what? If a parent helps them, mission accomplished. Man, that's my goal, is to get those kids, talking about books with their parents. And that's even better if they work together on this project. So I bill it as a family activity.
That's great.
Like this year, it happened to fall. We had a snow day, and I had several parents reach out to me and say, "Oh my gosh, this was perfect! It gave my kids something to do today." I try to plan it like over when we have a week off at Thanksgiving, or in January when it's a little slower sometimes. So yeah, it's. I love that we're also trying to pull in those families.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, anytime we can make that family connection. And like you said, getting students, if the parents are going to help with one of these projects, the parents have to know what's going on in the book, which means the kid either has to talk about the book or the parents have to read the book. And either way, you're building that family literacy connection, which is so great. Boy, so many things about this that are so cool. Boy, really loving this.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The kids I just absolutely love hearing them talk about why they chose what they did and why they chose to decorate it the way they did. A lot of times, they'll need help with the glue gun, especially the littles. So parents will get involved that way too, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And also like the hands-on stuff and bringing in sort of an artistic element or a design element you're giving an opportunity to those students who maybe aren't your top readers or, maybe aren't the top in their academic classes, but here is an opportunity for them to show skills in a different way, which is also awesome.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up because that is very true. Very true. It helped. It lets some of these kids shine that don't always get to shine.
Yeah.
And they can do their creativity in a different way. Something else that I like to do with the staff, I try to do something every year, is just a staff kind of, what do I want to call it? Just a gathering after school one day in the library. So one year in December, a few years ago, I did this in December and had some jazz music playing or some, I guess for December, it was Christmas music. But we had, and some healthy treats, and we did folded trees with folded book trees, like Christmas trees, and then they decorated them. But they folded. I went to the dollar store and bought some hardcover books or paperback books, and they did the folding, and it turned out to look like a Christmas tree. And then I had a bunch of stuff that they could decorate with, and so that was a fun staff activity after school one day in December. Last year we did diamond art bookmarks. I had my book club kiddos do that. And it was such a hit with them. We did little animal bookmarks I did those with the book club. But so then I got to thinking, hey, I could do this with the staff. And so I ordered like some florals and just different designs and invited the staff members to do it after school one day. And that was a lot of fun. The diamond art is where you take the kind of like the little glue thing and you pick up your little tiny rhinestone and it's kind of color coded. They turn out really fun and you just slip them over the page of a book. And so that was a fun staff activity, just kind of a little bonding time on that is kind of how I see it.
That's another one of these things that is blowing my mind with how simple and yet perfect it is, because we do so much programming for our students. I literally never thought to do a program like I do for students, for staff. Like, yes, we want students to come in and have fun and enjoy the space so that they socialize, so that they build community. We also want to do the same thing for our staff members. Why wouldn't we want to do the same thing for our staff members? Boy.
So that's been a lot of fun. So I'm always on the lookout. In fact, just the other day I was at my mom's and she said, "Hey, Alice, did you see these? Did you see this little project here?" I think it was a crocheted bookmark thing. And I said, "Oh, Mom, let me take a picture," because it looked like it was something that maybe we could, fit into a couple hours, because I kind of have to go for things that I think we can complete in a shorter amount of time. So I'm always on the lookout.
Yeah. And like so often I feel like maybe it's just in my district, but like I've been in my district for 25, 26 years, 27 years, a long time. And most of our activities for staff are, we're going to pick a Friday near a weekend and we're going to go to the bar. And there's some people who don't drink. There's some people who just aren't interested in the bar, noise and whatnot. So they're only sparsely attended. Here's an opportunity for people to come together and have that same community, that same fellowship, those same connections in a different kind of a space, but one that is going to promote them working together, and conversing with each other. And like, I have no doubt that just by the fact that they are in the library, at some point, somebody's going to mention, "Oh, hey, there's a great book that I read," or "That reminds me of this book." Like, conversations are going to happen around literacy when you're in a literary space, and you're giving them that space and that opportunity to have just organic conversations and make those connections, and also to see what a great space the library is for stuff beyond just books, because here they are, like, doing an activity that maybe it's centered around books, but it's also beyond that, and helping them kind of get the big picture of what the library is for their students, experience it.
Yes, you put that very well. And it is, I did notice that there was just to hear them converse with each other and relax at the end of a day and just, chat, just be able to have some time to chat with each other.
Using the library as a safe and fun space. I mean, that's what we want. That's what we want for all of our students to have. Let's have it for our staff too. So clever, Alice. I love this.
Well, send any ideas you have my way, because I'm always on the lookout for something that will fit in that time.
So
that
great.
time frame. But we
Man.
do have posters too. The teachers have posters or staff members outside their doors if they want one. And it's, look what Mrs. York is reading. And then it's a Bitmoji of her with the book. And then there's a white space where they can write in the book they're reading. And then at the bottom, what are you reading? And I started those with the intent of hopefully opening some conversation between students and teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do see those posters outside their rooms. It's been a number of years now since I did those actually, but I still see those outside their rooms and it's fun to stop. And I always stop and look to see what they're reading.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see what the adults are reading. Sometimes
Definitely.
it's a kid book. Sometimes it's an adult book.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing. Like sometimes I feel like our teachers in my building, I often will ask the teachers for recommendations for our newsletter. And at first people were like, well, I read this book. I really enjoyed it, but it's really not for middle graders. I was like, it doesn't matter if it's for middle grade. This is, adults also read this. We're sharing with each other as much as we're sharing with the students. So just bring those recommendations and maybe you'll have a conversation, maybe with a student about the book that they may not be reading the book, but maybe they're interested in the topic or they've heard of the author or they might say, my parent is reading that book. Like now you've got this talking point. And including the question at the bottom, what are you reading, is such a clever addition. Like I've seen lots of the outside the door, here's what I'm reading, but that just having that question, what are you reading? When every once in a while, I will wear a shirt rather that says, ask me what I'm reading. And every time I have worn it, every single time I have had at least 2 students ask me, what are you reading? And starts a conversation. And having that question on there kind of opens it up to it's not just a poster. It's not just something to look at. It's a participatory moment that they can choose to take part in. And it's, again, so simple to add that question on, but so important and opens it up in a new way. So again, kudos, because clever. So clever.
I love that idea. This is awesome because I'm getting ideas from you as well. So that's why I love
having these conversations. Always, everybody's learning from each other. It's so good.
Exactly.
So good. And
exactly.
I see you've also got a staff's little free library on here, and I'm kind of curious how that operates.
Well, so one of my staff members came and said, hey, is there a spot in the library that we could put up our books when we're finished and we can be doing some exchanging? Again, I have that staff that loves to read. And I said, absolutely. And so at first I had cleared off a shelf in my office and I used that for the shelf. And then I thought, oh, you know what? We had some open shelves behind a counter that I have, and it's right by the laminator. And I thought our staff members stand there a lot laminating. And I thought that's exactly where your eye goes. So I moved I called it the staff's little free library over to that back side. And, it works well because students don't see it. So I don't have to worry about a kid getting a hold of, it's back towards the back of the library where the laminator and the small laminator and the big laminators are.
Nice.
And so staff look at it as they're laminating and they go over a lot of times and check out to see what's on the shelf. Especially before summertime, there were quite a few of them taking books. So yeah, again, staff member asked about that and it's slowly growing. The little free library is slowly growing. But,
that's so great. The location that you picked is so clever because we've, every so often I'll put out, here's some books, or they'll end up on a shelf in the staff room, or for a little while I had one set up in a different section of the staff room. And I think it's very easy for people's eyes to just sort of pass over that stuff when especially when they're engaged in other things in that space. And if it's in your office, how often are they in the office that they can kind of just wander by and see it? And you saw an opportunity to say, this is a place I know they will be, and it's a very low thought area because you're just kind of running stuff through the machine. What a great opportunity for them to be able to take advantage.
If my library or if my office is locked, if I'm not there, somebody could still have access to those books. But I did like the fact that they were out of sight of the students. So not that there's, but they're adult books. And so
absolutely.
I thought that would be something else to consider.
Very, very smart. Very, very smart. Boy, so many good things you've got going down here. So great, man.
Well, it's fun. we use that same counter back there for what I call mystery books for the classroom libraries. And at Christmas time, we will wrap, probably 7, 8, 9 books in our school colors, red and black wrapping paper. And staff members are invited to come in and choose 2 for their classroom library. And they're mystery. I mean, they don't know what the book is. So I sort them out by grade level, and then they choose 2, and it's fun. Some of them will say, I'm going to take it back to my room and open it with my kids.
Oh, yeah.
Others will stand right there and open it and get excited about what they get. I try to choose stuff that's popular and, that they're going to want. And then we have some snacks back there that they're welcome to take to kind of a little decorated Christmas area. So that's been kind of a fun thing that I've added the last couple of years.
That's a fun way to add another element to the literacy too, is now you are sort of helping them expand what's available to their students in the classroom space. And I mean, the excitement about opening a gift is always going to be like, ooh, what is it? What do we get? What are we going to see? So I love that you're taking advantage of that in a way to help the teachers expand their literary offerings to their students. So fun.
And some of them will use it as a read aloud, and I've had the students say to me, oh, the book that our teacher got, we read it together. And so that's kind of rewarding too, is to see, the kids are a byproduct of that.
That's awesome. And one of the things I love, usually when I'm talking to somebody about a lesson or activity they do, it's with the students, and you're doing this stuff with the staff, which is great. And it's benefiting the students, but it's really, we're kind of focused on the adults in the building. And when I talk about what we're doing with the students, I talk about how we might differentiate or what, challenges you might have to overcome. And one of the things I love is you are working so well and so hard at bringing in everybody in the school. Like, it's not just the ELA teachers that are benefiting from this. It's like you said, when you're doing Battle of the Books, you've got your nurse and your cafeteria workers and your paras, like all taking part, and you're really just making opportunities for everybody to take part in the literacy community of this school. So smart, so clever. And I just love the inclusivity of it, that you're not saying it's only for this people, or I've only, opened it up this far. It's just the doors are wide. Come on in, take part. The library is for all.
Yes, the more the merrier.
Yes, absolutely.
The more the merrier, for sure.
Boy, you've got so many great things going here. I love it so much. Thank you so much for coming and sharing, because there's so many great things here.
Well, I appreciate the invitation, Steve, and this was something new for me, so I have really enjoyed it, and you make it easy.
Thank you. I try.
It's like I said, I've gotten a couple of good ideas from you too. So
love it.
I'm excited. I think I'm going to have to, our head secretary, she has a t-shirt business. And so I may have to go to her and say, hey, I need a t-shirt that says.
Absolutely. I got mine from Jarrett Lerner, who is a great author and artist.
Oh, yeah.
And every so often he'll do different library or school related shirts, book related shirts. And that was one of them. And I love it. I'm wearing it out, which is a problem, but that's a problem for another day.
Well, that means you're getting lots of book conversations going on. And Jarrett, wow, talk about being so generous with his artwork and his ideas.
Absolutely. Wonderful human being. Such a great person. Well, I think we are at the point where we're going to take our 90-degree turn and go into our book break.
Book break. Squiddy.
Okay, yeah.
So anything you want to get on people's reading radar, something you've enjoyed, something you think they might want to know about, what do you got? What are you bringing to the table?
Well, I'll tell you. So when I thought about that question, one of my all-time favorite picture books, and I'm a huge picture book fan, is 21 Steps, Guarding the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Oh,
and
interesting.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but
No.
It's written by Jeff Gottesfeld and illustrated by Matt Tavares. And it came out, I would say 3 years ago or so. And I just fell in love with it. I think it's beautiful. I love the words. I love the pictures. And I used it with my students for Veterans Day that year. And it's a story, or it's a book about the tomb, or the guards or the sentinel guards that guard the tomb of the unknown soldier. And it's their story, and that also of the unknown soldiers that they honor. And I just think it's a gorgeous book. So this past March, the duo, Matt and Jeff, teamed up again and they put a companion book was published called Honor Flight, and Honor Flight celebrating America's veterans. And I love it as well. I've already decided that's going to be my Veterans Day read aloud for my students this year. One of my favorite things that our school does is we do, about 3 years ago, we started a Veterans Day assembly. And the library plays a part in that. Usually we read the America's White Table, and we set a white table up on the stage. And one of our students stands up and talks about the significance of the white table. And my 5th graders make a hallway display about what the white table means to them. But I think this year I'm also going to be including Honor Flight. And it's a book about America's veterans and the Honor Flight network that works to fly these aging veterans to Washington, D.C. to see their memorials. And so many of them have not seen, the memorial for their service. And so this organization pays to fly them to Washington, D.C. so they can see the memorial. And it's very moving. I have to say, I had to have a Kleenex when I read that. But and because it's kind of a neat story in that the illustrator, Matt Tavares, his uncle, I think, served in the Vietnam War. And he used his uncle as the main character that he modeled the main character after. And they all have a companion on this. When they do an honor flight, there's a companion that goes along with each of the veterans to take care of their every need. If they're in a wheelchair, they push the wheelchair. And so this is kind of cool. But after the book was already published, or had gone, had been written and illustrated, the illustrator actually got to be the companion for his uncle. His uncle got to do an honor flight to the Vietnam Memorial, and Matt got to be his companion. So I thought that was a really cool follow-up to the story.
Yeah. Wow. I am very fortunate. I'm in New Jersey, and for many years, my school did an overnight trip for the 8th graders down to Washington, and we would get to see all the memorials and monuments. And if you ever get the chance, if you go to the Lincoln Memorial, you are steps away from the Vietnam Memorial, which also has a memorial to the women who served as medical personnel and women veterans of Vietnam, which is people don't even realize there are any, and they just got recently, not too long ago, got their own monument. And there's also a monument to the Korean War, and the symbolism of all of these different monuments and memorials. Like when you get some of the history and some of the reasoning why they did things the way they did, just absolutely mind-blowing. It's so very, very humbling to see, how many people have given their lives for our country. And it's really wonderful that we are able to have these memorials, but because they are in a place that not everybody gets to go, it's really awesome that there's an organization that helps these veterans get to see these monuments to the things that they sacrificed to help give us what we have. So that's really great. I had not heard of this organization before. Yes.
And as a matter of fact, I think is super exciting because, anybody can apply to be a companion, But yeah, I think it's a really great opportunity. And in the back of the book, in the back matter of Honor Flight, he talks about sometimes schools, elementary schools will do fundraisers, and they will raise the money for a veteran to go on to take that trip, which That's thought awesome. That kind of is getting some wheels turning here, Yeah. And then also on the flight home, they have a mail call, and that takes these veterans, back. Mail was so important when they were all served, and so school kids will write letters to these veterans that they pass out the mail then on the plane coming home. So it's just a really neat picture book, and I thought, it's really timely too because Memorial Day is in the rearview mirror right now, but we have our 250th birthday coming in a few weeks. And so I felt like this is a really timely time for both of these picture books.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing great books. Thank you for sharing great ideas. This is so wonderful. I'm so glad we got to have this conversation. I know folks are going to want to kind of keep track of what else you've got going on because you've got so many great things going on. If they want to find you online, where should they go looking?
So I will say I'm not a huge social media person.
That's okay.
I think, there's only so many hours in the day.
Absolutely.
And I can go down that rabbit hole. And so I just really don't do a lot of social. I do Facebook. I always post on our school's Facebook page and their website.
Gotcha.
But I have a monthly newsletter that I do. And I
Okay.
share all the stuff that's going on in our library. And I'm also Stuco sponsor, so I put a lot of that in there. But I do that monthly newsletter. So that's where my ideas land. And I send that
Gotcha.
newsletter to our whole school community,
Nice.
to parents and to, all my staff members, obviously, and just the school community. So
That's a great way to kind of get that message out there too, because especially if we're taking the time to put together a newsletter, if it's for students, if it's for staff, why wouldn't we want it to go to the wider community so they're aware of, here are things that we're doing for our kids?
Well, and again, advocacy, especially in this, of budget cuts. I feel like the more our administration and our community can see the value of your space, then yeah, that's a good thing, especially in this day and age.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. I truly appreciate you taking the time to share with us. This has been a wonderful conversation. I truly appreciate it. And I know folks are going to, if their brains are anything like mine, they are buzzing with so many different thoughts and ideas now of ways we can get our staff involved. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your ideas and for just orchestrating this today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for the episode. They feature links to resources shared by our guest, as well as ways to keep in touch with them, and links to the book break titles. I'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback, a comment, an idea, a question, or something you want to share, you can email drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. Know a librarian with something we could learn from? Let us know. Until next time, be good, be safe, and be well.